Let's cross now to fellow journalist and a friend of Dom Phillips, Andrew Downey, who's in Rio de Janeiro. Andrew, this is obviously not an easy time for you, but what more do we know about the ongoing investigation and search for Dom and Bruno?
Well, the search began belatedly. This was one of the big problems that people had, was that they went missing. The government was slow to respond. In the last few days, that has finally been ramped up after a huge amount of public pressure, principally from his journalist friends who got all sorts of other personalities involved in Brazil who put pressure on the government all over the world. People have been asking, where are Dom and Bruno? In the last few days, we now have one person arrested. Police, though, said they cannot tie him specifically to any crime because the police say there is no crime yet because they have not found any bodies, they have not found any evidence that there was anything untoward yet. So the search is going on to try and find some sort of trace of the two men. You know, as we know, they were on a boat coming down the Amazon, coming down a river in the Amazon, and they went missing, and now police are trying to find out what happened to them. So we have people up there, we have colleagues up there, the police are there, they have helicopters now, they have divers, and we're all just sitting here waiting for some kind of good news and hoping against all hope that there will be some kind of positive outcome to this.
Andrew, could you tell us a bit more about Dom's work and how it could be linked to his disappearance?
Well, Dom was that rare breed. He was a music writer in the UK in the 1990s. He wrote a superb book about the culture of DJs. And when he came to Brazil to finish writing that book in 2007, he fell in love with Brazil and he became a foreign correspondent here. So he spent most of the 2010s writing about Brazil. Brazil was booming. It was the place where the World Cup and the Olympics were held. And when that kind of period ended for Brazil, he decided to focus on the environment because he was a guy who really loved nature. He would get up first thing in the morning before dawn to do stand-up paddle. He would get his friends together and he would take them on weekend hikes. So he really loved the environment and nature, and he wanted to make his mark. He decided to write this book about the Amazon. The book was, he said to me, it was basically about what kind of development works, what kind of sustainable development is good and what is bad. So he'd been working on that for the last couple of years, and in doing that work, he went backwards and forwards into the Amazon, often speaking with local indigenous people. And one of the people that was fundamental to his work was this guy, Bruno Pereira, who was an explorer, an indigenous advocate and expert in Brazil. Bruno knew this area as well as anyone in Brazil. It's a very remote area. Dom told me just last week, just before he was about to head out on this trip, he said, it takes me 15 hours to get there by plane from his home in Salvador. So everyone suspects that it wasn't so much Dom that was targeted, it could just be Bruno that was targeted because Bruno had received death threats before. This is an area where there's a lot of pressure from drug traffickers, from illegal miners, from illegal hunters, illegal fishers. And Bruno had come up against some of these people who were obviously meaning harm to some of the communities there because they coveted the natural resources. So the suspicion is that the target was first and foremost Bruno. So again, we're just hoping that we get some good news and as soon as possible.
And just very briefly, in regards to this specific trip, Andrew, were they looking particularly at illegal fishing?
I'm not exactly sure what they were doing on this trip. I know that they had gone to areas downriver from Atalaia do Norte. It's really close to Brazil's border with Peru. As I said, it is an area where there was a lot of illegal fishing. There's a lot of illegal hunting and mining and all that kind of thing that goes on there. So what they had done was they had gone out, and Bruno was taking Dom to some of these communities by the side of the river where they had interviewed people who had experience of dealing with these incursions into their land that the indigenous people have always, they've been there for thousands of years, and now you have all this pressure on them to get out, and it's very difficult for them.
Andrew Downey, a friend of missing British journalist Dom Phillips and also a journalist himself, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.